Somewhere in a museum in Naples, there is a loaf of bread. It is 2,000 years old. It is black, perfectly round, and scored across the top in a pattern identical to what you would find in an artisan bakery today. Someone baked it on the morning of August 24th, 79 AD. Someone shaped it by hand, slid it into the oven, and fully expected to sell it before noon. They never came back for it. That bread is the whole story of Pompeii. Not the volcano, not the ash. The bread, because the bread tells you that this was a Tuesday, a completely ordinary Tuesday in a city of 20,000 people who had absolutely no idea it was their last one. And by the time they understood what was happening, most of them had waited too long. We are going back to Pompeii today. Not to the ruins, not to the eruption. Back to the morning before, to Tuesday, to 20,000 people going about their lives, arguing about prices, training for fights, falling in love, baking bread, completely unaware that Vesuvius had already made its decision. Before we go any further, drop a comment right now and tell us where in the world you are watching this from. We genuinely love seeing it. People join us from everywhere and every single location surprises us. By the end of this video, one thing is going to land hard. These people did not feel like ancient history. They felt exactly like you. And that is precisely what makes what happened to them so impossible to forget. It is 4 in the morning and Pompeii is already running. This is the thing most people get completely wrong about the Roman world. It was not a slow, torchlit civilization shuffling through the dark. It was a machine. Loud, fast, relentless, and it started before sunrise. The people who made that possible woke up hours before anyone else, so the city would be ready when everyone else arrived. Between 30 and 40% of Pompeii's population were enslaved. They were not a footnote to this city. They were the city. The bakeries opening before dawn, the mills grinding, the stalls being set up in the dark. All of it runs on people who had no choice about being here and no say in what was about to happen to them. The bakery is already in motion. There are 35 bakeries in Pompeii, one for roughly every 570 residents. That number seems extraordinary until you understand why. Roman apartments had no kitchens, no safe way to contain fire in a multi-story building. The city fed itself communally, from places exactly like this one, every single morning. A donkey walks its slow circle around a volcanic stone millstone. This animal has walked this exact circle every morning of its working life. I will do it again tomorrow, except it will not. By 7 in the morning, the streets are in full motion, and this is where Pompeii stops feeling like a history lesson. Look down at the road beneath your feet. The stone surface is not just paving. It is the city's drainage system, everything flowing through it. And those large stepping stones crossing the road are set at precisely the right height for cartwheel gaps to pass between them, so pedestrians never have to step down into whatever the street is currently carrying. That is not primitive. That is engineering. A thermopolium, Pompeii's version of a fast food counter, is already serving hot food from ceramic pots set directly into a stone counter. Archaeologists analyzing the contents of one of these pots found traces of duck, pig, fish, snails, and beef. Varied, seasoned, the food of a city with strong opinions about lunch. But the walls are what stop you completely. Pompeii has over 11,000 pieces of cataloged graffiti. Not vandalism, communication. The walls of this city are its internet, political campaigns, business reviews, personal insults, declarations of love, poetry, arguments. A man named Successus wrote on a wall that he was in love with a barmaid named Iris. Someone else, almost certainly a rival, wrote underneath it that Iris did not care about him at all. Successus wrote back, defending himself. The argument is still on the wall, 2,000 years later, unresolved. These are not ancient people, these are people. Tucked behind the theater in the south of the city is a building most visitors walk past too quickly, the gladiatorial barracks. And before you picture what Hollywood gave you, desperate slaves dragged unwillingly into an arena, stop. The reality was considerably more complicated and considerably more interesting. The best gladiators in Pompeii were professional athletes. They had contracts, earnings, fan followings. Their names were on the walls. Women wrote poems about them. Some of them made serious money. Pompeii was obsessed with the games the way we are obsessed with professional sport today. People had favorites. They argued about matchups. They placed bets. They had opinions, loudly held. What is happening in this courtyard on the morning of August 24th is not dramatic. It is methodical, a training session, technical, repetitive, unglamorous, professional maintenance, the work that happens between the spectacle so the spectacle can exist. These men have no idea this is their last training session. Here is a question I want you to think about honestly. If your tap water stopped working this morning, would you evacuate your city? Probably not. You would call the water company, you would fill some bottles, you would be annoyed, and you would not conclude that your life was in immediate danger. In the days before August 24th, wells across Pompeii and the surrounding countryside begin running dry. The underground water table is being displaced. Something beneath the earth is moving, pushing groundwater out of spaces it has occupied for centuries. This is a textbook precursor to volcanic activity. We know that now. Nobody in 79 AD knows it because the concept of a volcano as we understand it simply does not exist yet. The ground is cracking. Roads and courtyard floors developing new fractures that were not there the week before. And then a fountain on one of Pompeii's main streets stops flowing. It has never stopped within living memory. The women who come to fill their water jars that morning stand in front of a dry stone spout and reach the same conclusion, almost universally. This is temporary. Something is wrong with the aqueduct. Someone will fix it. This is exactly how human beings process ambiguous danger. We default to the explanation that requires the least dramatic response. The animals are not doing this. The horses have been refusing their feed since early morning. The dogs will not go inside. And the birds are about to make a decision that puts every human being in this city to shame in terms of situational awareness. At approximately 11 in the morning, every single bird roosting on the colonnade of the Forum rises simultaneously. Not startled, not scattered. They rise together and fly directly away from the mountain. They do not come back. At approximately 1 in the afternoon, the summit of Vesuvius is breached. There is no final warning. No tremor that feels different from the others. One moment the mountain is where it has always been. Green, familiar, completely unremarkable on the northern skyline. And then it is not. The eruption column rises at hundreds of meters per second. Within minutes, it reaches a height of over 20 kilometers. At its peak, it is ejecting approximately 1.5 million tons of material per second into the atmosphere. It is one of the most powerful volcanic eruptions in European recorded history. And it is happening directly above a city of 20,000 people who have no word, no concept, no framework for what they are looking at. What falls on Pompeii first is pumice, small porous volcanic stones raining from the sky like gray hailstones. This phase lasts for hours. The pumice accumulates at roughly 15 centimeters per hour. And here is the detail that changes everything. It does not immediately kill people. This is the escape window. The people who survive Pompeii are almost entirely the people who use it, who wrap cloth around their heads, grab what they can carry, and walk out through the city gates without looking back. We know almost nothing about these people. History remembered the ones who stayed. Some of those who stayed buried their valuables first, fully intending to come back once things settled down. We know this because archaeologists keep finding hoards of buried silver beneath Pompeii's floors, household treasure hidden in a hurry. The owners never came back to collect it. The pumice rises past knee height, past hip height. Roofs begin to collapse under the weight. Ground floor doors become impossible to open. The streets become impassable. And then the darkness becomes total. Not the darkness of night, not a storm, but a darkness so complete that a lit torch illuminates only a small circle around itself, and beyond that circle, absolutely nothing. Between midnight and dawn, the eruption column begins to destabilize. When it collapses, the material that has been carried upward for hours has nowhere to go but outward, across the landscape in every direction at once. A pyroclastic density current, superheated gas, ash, and volcanic rock fragments traveling at speeds of up to 700 kilometers per hour at temperatures between 400 and 700 degrees Celsius. You cannot shelter from it. You cannot outrun it. It moves faster than sound. At approximately 6:30 in the morning on August 25th, the fourth pyroclastic surge reaches Pompeii. The people sheltering in the strongest buildings they could find are killed by the thermal pulse before the surge cloud even reaches their walls. And then there is silence over the Bay of Naples that lasts for nearly 1,700 years. Pompeii is sealed. Every room, every street, every object, frozen exactly as it was at the moment the surge arrived. Wood survives. Fabric survives. Food survives. The painted walls survive in colors so vivid that when excavation lights first hit them, they look like they were painted last week. In 1863, the site director Giuseppe Fiorelli noticed cavities in the hardened volcanic deposit, hollow spaces where the rock contained nothing. He filled them with liquid plaster. What emerged when the surrounding rock was carefully removed was not a skeleton. It was a person, frozen mid-gesture, clothing folded. The expression is sometimes still readable on their face. Vesuvius is still there. Of course it is. It has erupted more than 50 times since 79 AD. 3 million people live in its designated danger zones today. The calculation they make every morning, the danger is real, but probably not today, is the exact same calculation Pompeii made on August 24th. The only difference is that today we have better instruments. Pompeii is not a cautionary tale about volcanoes. It is a mirror. These people argued about fish prices, had favorites among the gladiators, fell in love with barmaids, baked bread by hand, and woke up fully expecting to go to bed that night. Successus never found out if Iris changed her mind. The bread never made it out of the oven. The stepping stones are still in the street. They didn't feel like ancient history. They felt exactly like you. But here is the question nobody talks about. What happened next? The survivors, the ones who grabbed what they could and walked out through the city gates. Where did they go? What did they find when they came back? Did they come back at all? That story is in the next video, and it is not what you expect. Comment below right now, and did you know that some people actually survived Pompeii? And where in the world are you watching this from tonight? We read every single one. Drop your location. We genuinely want to know. If this made Pompeii feel less like ancient history and more like a Tuesday that went wrong, like the video, share it with someone who needs to see it, and subscribe so you do not miss what happened the day after. The next video is already waiting for you.